One of my clients is getting $1,956 a month in guaranteed rent on a $90,000 house. And in this video, I'm going to show you how this deal came about, how the numbers break down, and then also how to get into a deal just like this for yourself. Okay, so step one is to find a property, find a good deal, and buy it. We were looking for a distressed property where we knew it was going to be a bit more of a rehab, a heavier rehab, but there was enough of a spread between the purchase price plus the rehab and what it could be worth, the ARV or the after repair value once it was fixed up. So we found this house. It was a 5-bed, 1.5 bath, and we got it for $90,000. Then we went and did some renovations and some upgrades. So it was trashed. There was trash everywhere inside the house. There was a lot of electrical issues and things that we needed to fix. And so we fixed it all up. We added some new flooring, added some nice carpet. And you could see here some of the pictures. They're not the best pictures, but you could see we made it look pretty nice. Okay. It's a pretty big house too. It's around 2,100 square feet. And so there was quite a bit of work that needed to be done. This took about a month and a half. Now this rehab cost about $33,000 if I'm not mistaken. Here we go, $32,380. And this is the scope of work of what we did on the home. So not every house will need this amount of work. Sometimes we get lighter rehab or turnkey properties. Sometimes we even get houses that need more work in the $40,000 to $50,000 range. I don't really care as long as the numbers work out. And so I'm going to break down the numbers and how it works out at the end of this video. So once we did the renovations and it was rent ready, then we went out and found a tenant. And if you watch any of my other videos, you'll know that I prefer to have a Section 8 tenant. A Section 8 tenant is someone who has government assistance. They are looking for affordable housing and the government gives them a voucher that specifies how many bedrooms that they will pay up to. So we were looking for somebody, and you could think of the voucher, it's kind of like food stamps, but for houses. So this particular house, since it's a 5-bedroom, we want to find a voucher holder who was qualified for 5 bedrooms. So we listed it, we found a tenant who had a 5-bedroom voucher, and we always want to request the max amount that the housing authority will pay. So you could see here, $2,157 is what we requested in rent. We got approved for $1,956, so right around 90% or so. And here's the best part about it. I like this, not every investor likes this, but I like when the tenant has a $0 portion because that means way less communication and maintenance needed from me and babysitting. Even if, and I have situations like this now, even if the tenant portion is only like 50, 100, 200 bucks, it's pretty annoying if you have to go and chase them for that amount. And they'll give you all kinds of excuses. Oh, I have, my auntie, I got to support her, or I don't have the $50 this month. They have all kinds of excuses, and you got to deal with that and then chase them for that amount of money. So it's not always bad, but I prefer when the tenant has a $0 portion because that means you get 100% of this rent in guaranteed rent paid to you in the first few days of every month, and it's paid to you direct deposit from the US government. It doesn't have to come from anybody else. You don't have to talk to the tenant. This goes directly into your account, whether you talk to the tenant or not. Okay? So nothing has to happen on your end when it's 100% because you're getting entirely paid from the housing authority and you don't have to follow up with the tenant for any portion of this. And another reason why I like Section 8 rent or Section 8 tenants is because you could see the amount that we requested is $2,157. If we were to go to a cash pay tenant, a market tenant that's not on the Section 8 program, max we could probably get around $1,500 a month for this particular house. So we're getting anywhere from $400 to $600 more in rent because we have a Section 8 tenant and it's guaranteed by the US government. Okay? So we rented it out to a Section 8 tenant. We're getting $1,956 a month on a $90,000 house. And now we're going to go and do a cash out refinance. So cash out refinance, the way it works is we're going to go to a bank or a lender and we're going to say, hey, we want to do a cash out refinance. They're going to send an appraiser out to your house and the appraiser will give your house a new value. You will get 75% of that typically back as a loan, and you could pay back your original loan if there was an original loan. So these particular clients, they used a hard money loan to fund the purchase of the house. They also put the rehab on 0% interest business credit cards. So they're going to use the 75% cash out refinance, the loan that they get back, to pay back that original loan, and a portion potentially all, in some cases, of the rehab that they paid out of pocket or they put on the credit card. So here we have the appraisal. This property appraised for $152, as you can see here. So 75% of that is $114,000. They bought the house for $90,000. They put down around 12.5% or so, and the rest were closing costs. And then they have $32,380 in rehab that they put on a credit card. So they're going to start paying that amount back with the $114 that they got from this cash out refinance. And this is what I mean when I said we were looking for a property where there's a spread between what we bought it for plus the rehab versus what it's actually worth when it's fixed up. We bought it for $90,000, and you can see it appraised for $152 after we fixed the property up. The final breakdown of the numbers. We bought this house for $90,000. The rehab, $32,380. Closing costs between the acquisition and refinance was around $10,000. So they're all into this deal for $132,380. Okay. Now the after repair value with the appraisal was $152. The 75% of that loan, we do a DSCR loan on a 30-year term. You could see that's $114, which is 75% of this amount. And the rate here, the interest rate plus the 30-year term, after all of this, they're left with $18,380 in the deal. Now, this might seem like a lot, but if you look at what they would have had in the deal, if they just did a 20% down payment on this $90,000, that would have been $18,000 or so. They would have had to fund this out of pocket, so that's $32,380 plus $18,000, and they would have had about $6,000 or so of closing costs. So they would have been into this deal $50,000 to $60,000. So $18,000 is not that much compared to what they would have been into the deal if they bought it with just the conventional or standard 20% down and funded this all themselves. So this is pretty good, and I'm going to show you why. So they're getting $1,956 a month in Section 8 rent. This is guaranteed rent paid by the government. Their mortgage is around $787 a month, and that's based on this new loan here. Property taxes $212 a month, insurance $115 a month. We have 10% for maintenance and reserves at $196, 10% of the rent. Now, if they don't spend any money on this, this just goes directly back into their pocket. Property management, they're self-managing, but if you want to hire a property management company, once you have a lot of units, then it's going to be typically around 8 to 10% of the rent here. So subtract another $196 or so. But total expenses is $1,310 a month. That's everything. And then they also are getting $1,956 a month in rent. So you subtract that from this and you get a net monthly cash flow of $646 a month. An annual cash flow of $7,757 a year with a cash on cash return of 42%. Cash on cash return, 42%, means for every dollar they have invested, they're making 42 cents back per year. That is pretty solid, right? That's fantastic if you show it to any investor. If you're getting a 42% return on your money per year, that is pretty good. And that's just the cash flow. That's not including appreciation. That's not including principal paid down from the tenant paying down your mortgage and tax benefits from depreciation. So their investment payback period to get this paid back from just the cash flow alone is going to be 28 months. And then from there, it's free and clear. It's just infinite ROI because they have no money left in the deal at that point at the 28-month mark. So let's look at a scenario. Let's say that you have $100,000 and you're looking to invest it into real estate or stocks, and you're trying to figure out what is the best method for you. Now, the upside with stocks, I do have stocks as well. It's completely passive. It's 100% passive. You just buy the stock and you do nothing else. So there's a lot of peace of mind and benefit to that. But if you're looking for the highest upside, we get cash flow that looks like this with real estate. You don't get this type of cash flow with stocks. Even if you have dividend stocks, you're getting 2 to 4% a year max. You also get the house going up in value over time while a tenant is paying down your debt every single month, and you're getting tax benefits if you set it up correctly from depreciation. So there are 4 different benefits or main benefits with owning a property like this. And if we have $100,000, if you have a deal like this with $18,000 left in the deal, you could do around 5 to 6 of these deals and create around $40,000 a year in annual net cash flow. So you invest $100,000, you're getting paid $40,000 a year for life. That's pretty good, right? Because you pay yourself back in around 28 months. So if you're asking me, I'm a bit biased, but I have both stocks and real estate. But if you're asking me what the better investment is, the higher upside is going to be real estate. Okay. And here's the numbers to show you that. If you want more passive, it's going to be stocks, but I would say that stocks is more when you have a lot more money to play with, because to get these types of returns with stocks, you need a lot more invested into the stock market. So if you want to build a portfolio like this, one house is great, but you're going to see the biggest benefits when you build a portfolio of 3, 5, 10 or more of these houses. We can help you do this completely remote. I own 22 of these properties. I've never seen a single one of them in person. We have a great team that can help you. So if you're looking to build a portfolio of remote cash flowing rental properties just like this, there's a link in the description. It'll take you over to a page where it'll show you how our system works, and you can book a time to talk directly with me about how this could look for you. But I hope you found this useful, and I'll see you in the next video.